What if I told you that a toddler, a tiny, innocent 2-year-old, was snatched from her daycare in broad daylight, vanishing without a trace, only for her mother to spot her face, 18 years later, staring back from the glossy pages of a fashion magazine? Can you imagine the heart-pounding shock, the gut-wrenching disbelief, the questions that would flood your mind? How does a child disappear from a place meant to keep her safe? Where was she all those years? And how on earth does a mother recognize her long-lost daughter in a world that's moved on without her? You're here because you want answers, because you're drawn to mysteries that twist your heart and spark your curiosity. I get it. There's something about a story like this that pulls you in, makes you feel like you're part of it, like you're right there with that mom, flipping through that magazine, your breath catching in your throat. Stick with me, because I'm going to take you on a journey through one of the most unbelievable true crime-inspired stories you'll ever hear, and by the end, you'll know exactly what happened to that little girl and why her face ended up in that magazine. This is the story of a toddler kidnapped from daycare, a mother's unbreakable love, and a mystery that spans nearly 2 decades. Let's dive in together, and I promise you, you won't want to look away. Picture this. It's a sunny morning in a small, tight-knit town in Ohio, the kind of place where everyone knows your name, where neighbors wave from their porches, and the local daycare is like a second home for the kids. It's 2007, and Sarah Thompson, a young single mom, drops off her 2-year-old daughter, Lily, at Sunshine Daycare, just like she does every weekday. Sarah's got that familiar mom guilt we all know, rushing to work, kissing Lily's chubby cheeks, promising to be back before dinner. Lily's got her favorite stuffed bunny tucked under her arm, her big brown eyes sparkling as she waves goodbye. Sarah drives off, her heart full, trusting that her baby is safe in the hands of people she's known for years. But that afternoon, when Sarah pulls into the daycare parking lot, something feels off. The air is too quiet, the playground eerily empty. She walks inside, expecting to hear Lily's giggles, but instead, she's met with pale faces and trembling voices. "Sarah," the daycare director whispers, her eyes wide with panic. "Lily's gone."
Gone?
How does a toddler just vanish from a locked building with 3 teachers and a dozen other kids around? The police are called, search parties form, and the town buzzes with fear and confusion. Was it a stranger? Someone they knew? Did Lily wander off? Every lead fizzles out. Every search comes up empty, and Sarah's world collapses. You can feel it, can't you? That sinking dread, that desperate need to know where Lily is, if she's okay, if she's even alive. You're probably wondering how a mother keeps going after something like that, how she doesn't just break. I'm going to show you how Sarah held on and why, 18 years later, a single photograph changed everything. Now, let's talk about you for a second. You're watching this because you love a good mystery, right? You're the kind of person who gets hooked on true crime podcasts, who stays up late binge-watching documentaries, trying to piece together the puzzle before the big reveal. You're here because you want to feel something. Maybe it's the thrill of the unknown. Maybe it's the hope that even the darkest stories can have a light at the end. I'm right there with you, and I'm not just telling this story to fill time. I'm telling it because it's the kind of tale that sticks with you, that makes you think about love, loss, and the crazy things we do to protect the people we care about. You and I, we're in this together, and I'm not going to waste your time with fluff or filler. Every detail I share, every twist I unravel, is leading you closer to the truth about what happened to Lily. You're going to meet Sarah, a mom who never gave up, even when the world told her to move on. You'll see Lily's story through her eyes, through the pain of those empty years, and through the moment that brought her crashing back into her mother's life. But I need you to stick with me because this isn't just a story, it's a roller coaster, and the biggest drops are still coming. Can you feel that pull, that urge to keep watching? That's your heart telling you this is worth it, and I'm promising you now, you're going to get the answers you came for. Let's set the stage a bit more, because this story isn't just about a kidnapping. It's about what happens when life keeps moving, but your heart stays stuck in one moment. After Lily disappeared, Sarah's life became a blur of police interviews, news cameras, and sleepless nights. The town rallied at first, with candlelight vigils and missing posters plastered on every lamppost. But weeks turned into months, and months into years. People stopped talking about Lily. The posters faded, the news moved on, and Sarah was left alone with her grief. She kept Lily's room exactly the same, her tiny bed, her stuffed bunny, her drawings still taped to the wall. Every year, on Lily's birthday, Sarah would bake a cake and sit in that room, whispering, "I'm still looking for you." Can you imagine that kind of love? The kind that doesn't fade, no matter how much time passes? It's the kind of love that makes you root for Sarah, that makes you want to reach through the screen and tell her to keep going. Meanwhile, the world kept turning. Smartphones replaced flip phones. Kids who were toddlers when Lily vanished grew up and graduated high school, and Sarah, now in her 40s, was still haunted by that one day in 2007. She worked as a nurse, pouring her heart into caring for others, but never stopped scanning crowds, searching for a glimpse of her daughter's face. You're probably wondering how someone holds on to hope for that long, or if Sarah ever doubted herself. I'll let you in on a little secret. She did. But something kept her going, something that made her pick up that fashion magazine in 2025, and that's where this story takes a turn you won't see coming. Here's where I want to connect with you again because I know what you're thinking. You're invested now, aren't you? You're picturing Sarah, flipping through that magazine in a grocery store checkout line, her hands trembling as she sees a face that looks impossibly familiar. You're wondering how a kidnapped toddler ends up in a high-gloss photo shoot, what kind of life she's been living, and who's been pulling the strings all these years. You're not just watching this video. You're living it with me, feeling every heartbeat, every question. That's why I love telling stories like this, because they bring us together, make us feel like we're solving this mystery side by side. You're not just a viewer, you're my partner in this, and I'm counting on you to stick around, because the truth is going to blow your mind. I'm not going to spoil it here, but I will tell you this. This story isn't just about a kidnapping. It's about secrets, identity, and the lengths people go to for family. It's about a mother's intuition, a daughter's hidden life, and a moment that changes everything. You're going to meet characters who'll surprise you, some who'll warm your heart, and others who'll make your skin crawl. But to get there, you need to keep watching because every piece of this puzzle matters, and I'm laying them out for you one by one. Let's fast forward to 2025, just for a moment, because this is where the story gets wild. Sarah's in that grocery store, her cart half full, her mind on autopilot. She's not expecting anything extraordinary, just another day, another routine. Then she grabs a fashion magazine from the rack, one of those trendy ones with bold covers and names like Vogue or Elle. She's flipping through it, not really paying attention, until she stops cold. There, in a full-page spread, is a young woman with long dark hair, big brown eyes, and a smile that hits Sarah like a lightning bolt. It's not just any face, it's Lily's face, or at least it could be. The same eyes Sarah kissed goodnight, the same dimple she used to tickle. The model's name is listed as Isabel, but Sarah knows better. A mother knows. Her heart races, her hands shake, and suddenly, the last 18 years come crashing back. Is this really Lily? How did she get here? Who is Isabel, and what's her story? Sarah buys the magazine, rushes home, and starts digging, because if this is her daughter, she's not letting go again. But here's the thing. The deeper she digs, the more questions she uncovers, and the answers aren't what she expected. You're feeling it now, aren't you? That itch to know more, that need to find out what happens next. I'm not going to leave you hanging, but I'm also not going to give it all away just yet. You want the truth? You want to know what happened to Lily, who took her, and how she ended up on that magazine cover? Then keep watching because the next part of this story is going to turn everything you think you know upside down. So, where do we go from here? You and I, we're standing at the edge of a cliff, and the only way forward is to jump. Sarah's got that magazine in her hands, her heart telling her this is her daughter, but her head screaming that it's impossible. 18 years is a long time. People change, memories fade, and the world isn't kind to happy endings. Yet here she is, ready to chase this lead, no matter where it takes her. You're probably wondering if she's right, if that model really is Lily, or if Sarah's just seeing what she wants to see. You're wondering who's behind this, what kind of life Lily's been living, and whether this story ends with a reunion or something darker. I'm not going to lie, this journey's going to get messy. There are secrets buried deep, people who don't want the truth to come out, and twists that'll make your jaw drop. But I promise you, every step of this story is worth it, and I'm going to be right here with you, unraveling it all. You came here for answers, and I'm going to give them to you, but you've got to stay with me until the end. Right now, Sarah's about to make a phone call that could change everything, a call to the magazine, asking about the model named Isabel. What she's about to hear will send her down a path she never expected, and it's going to raise a question that'll keep you up at night. What if the daughter she's been searching for doesn't want to be found? You're still here, aren't you? I knew you would be, because that cliffhanger I left you on, Sarah clutching that fashion magazine, her heart pounding as she stares at the face of a model who might be her long-lost daughter, Lily, is the kind of moment that sinks its hooks into you and doesn't let go. You're probably sitting there, your mind racing with questions, wondering what Sarah's going to do next, who this Isabel really is, and how a toddler snatched from a daycare in 2007 could end up gracing the pages of a high-fashion spread in 2025. I'm right there with you, feeling that same itch to unravel this mystery, and I promise we're going to dig deeper together. Right now, Sarah's standing in her kitchen, the magazine spread open on the counter, her phone in her hand, about to make a call that could either bring her daughter back or shatter her hope all over again. But before we follow her down that rabbit hole, let's take a step back and get to know Sarah a little better. Her life, her struggles, the people around her, and the shadows that have been creeping into her world lately. Because this story isn't just about a kidnapping, it's about a woman who's been fighting to hold on to hope for 18 years, and the strange, unsettling clues that are starting to surface around her. You're going to meet some new faces, hear about some odd coincidences, and start wondering who's telling the truth and who's hiding something. Buckle up, because this mystery is about to get a whole lot murkier, and I need you to stick with me to see where it leads. Sarah Thompson isn't the same woman she was back in 2007, when the world seemed to crack open and swallow her daughter whole. Back then, she was a young mom, barely 25, working long hours at a diner to make ends meet, her life revolving around Lily's giggles and bedtime stories. The kidnapping broke her in ways that never fully healed, but it also forged something unbreakable inside her, a quiet, stubborn strength that kept her going when everyone else gave up. By 2025, Sarah's in her early 40s, a nurse at a community hospital in her small Ohio town, known for her gentle hands and her knack for calming even the most anxious patients. She's the kind of person you'd want by your side in a crisis, but if you look closely, you can see the weight she carries, the faint lines around her eyes, the way her smile never quite reaches them, the way she scans every crowd like she's still searching for a little girl with a stuffed bunny. Sarah lives alone in the same modest house she bought when Lily was a baby, the kind of place with creaky floors and a front porch that sags a little. Lily's room is still untouched, a shrine to a life that stopped abruptly, but Sarah's not stuck in the past. At least, she tries not to be. She's got a small circle of friends, mostly coworkers, and a routine that keeps her grounded. Morning coffee at the local diner, evening walks with her rescue dog, Max, and the occasional book club meeting where she pretends to have read the latest bestseller. But lately, something's been off. You know that feeling when the air feels too heavy, like a storm's coming but you can't see the clouds? That's where Sarah's at, and it's not just the magazine that's got her on edge. There have been little things, strange things, piling up over the past few months, and they're starting to make her wonder if the past is catching up with her. Let's talk about those strange things, because they're the kind of details that make you lean forward and pay attention. About 6 months ago, Sarah started getting anonymous letters in her mailbox. No return address, no signature, just typed notes on plain white paper. The first one was short, almost cryptic. "She's closer than you think." Sarah's heart stopped when she read it, her mind flashing to Lily, but she told herself it was a prank, some cruel joke from a teenager with too much time on their hands. She tucked it away in a drawer, trying to forget it, but then another came a month later. "You'll see her soon." By the third letter, which arrived just 2 weeks before she found the magazine, Sarah was rattled enough to take them to the police. The notes were vague, untraceable, and the local sheriff, a kind but overworked man named Tom Harper, could only promise to keep an eye out. Tom's been in Sarah's life since the kidnapping, one of the few who never stopped checking in on her, but even he seemed skeptical, suggesting maybe the letters were from a patient or someone Sarah had helped at the hospital. You're probably thinking what Sarah was thinking. Who would do this and why now, after all these years? Was it someone who knew something about Lily, or just a sick mind playing games? The letters weren't the only oddity, though. Sarah's been noticing a dark sedan parked across the street from her house at odd hours, its driver always out of sight. She's caught glimpses of a man in a baseball cap lingering near the hospital parking lot, always gone before she can get a good look. Coincidences? Maybe, but they've got her jumpy, and now this magazine photo feels like the final piece of a puzzle she didn't even know she was solving. You're feeling that chill, aren't you? That sense that someone's watching, pulling strings from the shadows. Now, let's introduce a few people in Sarah's orbit, because every good mystery needs a cast of characters who make you second-guess everything. First, there's Rachel, Sarah's best friend and a fellow nurse at the hospital. Rachel's the bubbly, no-nonsense type, always dragging Sarah to karaoke nights or pushing her to try online dating, but she's also fiercely protective, the one who sat with Sarah through every tear-soaked night after Lily vanished. Rachel's been acting strange lately, though, distracted, quick to change the subject whenever Sarah mentions the letters or her renewed search for Lily. You might wonder if Rachel's just tired of the same old grief, or if there's something she's not saying, something she knows that Sarah doesn't. Then there's Mark, a newer face in town, a charming photographer who moved to Ohio a year ago and started teaching art classes at the community center. Mark's taken a shine to Sarah, stopping by the diner with his camera and a warm smile, offering to take her out for coffee. Sarah's flattered but guarded. She's not ready for romance, not when her heart's still tied to Lily, but Mark's persistent, and he's got a knack for showing up at just the right moment, like when Sarah's car broke down or when she needed help fixing her porch. He's almost too perfect, and you can't help but wonder, is he just a nice guy, or does he know more about Sarah's past than he's letting on? And then there's Tom, the sheriff, who's been a steady presence in Sarah's life but has his own secrets, like the fact that he was one of the last people to see Lily at the daycare before she disappeared, dropping off his own son that morning. Tom's always been kind, but his reluctance to dig into the letters makes you question whether he's protecting Sarah or hiding something from that day in 2007. You're starting to see the web, aren't you? The way everyone's connected, the way no one's quite what they seem. Let's add another layer, because this story thrives on the kind of uncertainty that keeps you guessing. Sarah's not the only one who's been shaken by the past resurfacing. The town itself feels different these days, like it's holding its breath. Sunshine Daycare, where Lily was taken, shut down years ago. It's building now a boarded-up eyesore at the edge of town. But recently, there's been talk of developers wanting to tear it down and build condos, and that's stirred up old memories. Some locals swear they've seen lights flickering in the empty building at night, or heard strange noises coming from inside. Sarah's tried to stay away, but last month, she drove by on a whim and found a single stuffed bunny, eerily like the one Lily loved, sitting on the front steps. Her hand shook as she picked it up, her mind screaming that it couldn't be a coincidence, but when she showed it to Rachel, her friend brushed it off, saying it was probably left by a kid playing a prank. You're probably wondering if that bunny means something, if it's a clue or just another red herring in a story full of them. And what about the magazine? Sarah's call to the publisher is about to open a door she can't close because the woman on the other end of the line, a brisk editor named Claire, says something that makes Sarah's blood run cold. Isabel's been with us for years, but her background? She doesn't talk about it. Nobody knows where she came from. That's not all. Claire mentions that Isabel's manager, a shadowy figure named Victor, is fiercely protective, and he's not happy about anyone asking questions. Who is Victor, and why does he care so much about Isabel's past? You're hooked now, I can tell, because every answer leads to 3 more questions, and the truth is still just out of reach. Here's where I want to pull you back in, because you and we're unraveling this together. You're not just watching a story, you're living it with Sarah, feeling her hope, her fear, her desperate need to know if Isabel is Lily. You're probably trying to piece it together, wondering if Rachel's hiding something, if Mark's too good to be true, if Tom's loyalty is as solid as it seems. Maybe you're even thinking about that sedan, those letters, that bunny, trying to figure out if they're connected or just distractions. I love that you're this invested because it means you're feeling what I'm feeling. That pull to keep going, to chase the truth no matter how tangled it gets. Sarah's about to take a big step. She's planning to track down Isabel, to see her in person, to look into those brown eyes and know for sure. But the closer she gets, the more dangerous it feels, like someone's watching her every move, waiting for her to get too close. You want to know what happens next, don't you? You want to know if Sarah's right about Isabel, if Lily's been living a secret life, or if this is all a cruel trick. I'm not going to spoil it, but I will tell you this. The next piece of this puzzle is going to change everything, and it's going to come from someone Sarah never expected to hear from. Someone who claims to know exactly what happened to Lily 18 years ago. Who is it, and what do they want? Keep watching because we're diving deeper, and the truth is closer than you think, but it's not what you're expecting. All right, you're still with me, and I'm so glad you are, because this story is about to take a turn that'll have you gripping the edge of your seat, your mind buzzing with questions that demand answers. We left Sarah on the verge of something huge, clutching that fashion magazine with Isabel's face staring back at her, ready to track down the model who might be her daughter, Lily, kidnapped 18 years ago from a small-town Ohio daycare. You can feel her heart pounding, can't you? That mix of hope and fear as she prepares to confront a truth that's been buried for nearly 2 decades. But just when you think Sarah's getting closer to unraveling this mystery, the ground beneath her starts to shift. Obstacles are piling up, shadows are closing in, and the deeper she digs, the more dangerous it feels. You're probably wondering what's going to trip her up next, who's trying to keep her from the truth, and whether she's strong enough to push through. I'm right here with you, piecing this puzzle together, and I promise, every twist in this tale is leading us somewhere unforgettable. But this part? It's where things get messy, where secrets from the past creep out of the dark, and where Sarah starts to question everyone around her, even the people she's trusted for years. Let's dive back in, because the stakes are higher than ever, and there's a twist coming that'll leave you desperate for more. Sarah's not wasting any time after that call to the magazine publisher. She's got a name, Isabel, and a location, a modeling agency in New York City, where Isabel's based. It's a long shot, but Sarah's been chasing long shots for 18 years, and this feels different, like a thread she can finally pull. She books a bus ticket, packs a bag, and stuffs the magazine into her purse, along with those creepy anonymous letters she's been getting, just in case they're connected. Her plan is simple. Get to New York, find the agency, and see Isabel in person. If those brown eyes, that dimple, are Lily's, she'll know it in her bones. But before she can even leave town, things start going wrong. The morning of her trip, Sarah wakes up to find her front door slightly ajar, the lock untouched but the house feeling violated. She searches frantically and realizes the magazine is gone, ripped from her purse, which she'd left on the kitchen counter. Her heart sinks, but that's not the worst of it. The stuffed bunny, the one she found on the steps of the old daycare, the one that felt like a haunting echo of Lily's favorite toy, it's sitting on her couch, placed there like a taunting message. You're probably feeling that same chill Sarah did, that sinking dread that someone's been in her house, watching her, messing with her head. She calls Sheriff Tom, who comes over and takes a report, but his face says it all. No fingerprints, no forced entry, no leads. Maybe you misplaced the magazine, he suggests, his voice gentle but skeptical. Misplaced? Sarah knows better. Someone doesn't want her chasing this lead, and they're willing to break into her home to stop her. You're wondering who it could be, aren't you? Is it the same person sending those letters, or someone closer, someone Sarah trusts? The uncertainty is eating at her, and it's eating at you too because every step forward feels like 2 steps back. Let's talk about that trust, because Sarah's starting to question it, and you should too. Rachel, her best friend, is the first person Sarah calls after the break-in, needing someone to ground her. Rachel shows up, all concern and coffee cups, but there's something off in her eyes. Something that makes Sarah pause. Rachel's been her rock forever, the one who held her hand through every false lead, every dead end. But now, when Sarah mentions the missing magazine and her plan to go to New York, Rachel's quick to discourage her. "You're chasing ghosts, Sarah," she says, her voice sharper than usual. "What if this Isabel isn't Lily? You're going to break your heart all over again." It's the kind of thing a friend might say, but there's an edge to it, a nervousness that doesn't sit right. You're probably thinking what Sarah's starting to think. Is Rachel just worried, or is she hiding something? That's not the only crack in Sarah's world. Mark, the charming photographer who's been circling her life, shows up uninvited that same day, offering to drive her to the bus station. He's all smiles, but when Sarah mentions the break-in, he asks too many questions, specific ones, like what was taken, where she kept the magazine, whether she's told the police about the letters. It's almost like he's fishing, and Sarah's gut twists. Mark's only been in town a year, and she barely knows him, but he's always there, always watching. Could he be connected to this? And then there's Tom, the sheriff, who's starting to feel less like a friend and more like a gatekeeper. When Sarah presses him about the break-in, he shuts her down, saying he's got bigger cases to handle, like a string of burglaries across town. But you can't help but wonder, is Tom really too busy, or is he steering Sarah away from something he doesn't want her to find? You're caught in this web now, aren't you? Every person in Sarah's life feels like a potential ally or a hidden enemy, and the truth is slipping further away. Here's where the past comes crashing in, because no mystery like this is complete without a secret that's been buried too long. While Sarah's packing for New York, she digs through an old box of Lily's things, looking for a photo to compare to Isabel's face. Instead, she finds something she'd forgotten about. A letter from her ex, Jake, Lily's father. Jake was out of the picture by the time Lily was born, a drifter who couldn't handle responsibility. But this letter, dated a month after the kidnapping, is a gut punch. It's short, scrawled in Jake's messy handwriting. "I'm sorry, Sarah. I never meant for this to happen. Forgive me." Forgive him? For what? Sarah's hands shake as she reads it again, her mind spinning. Jake left town before Lily was taken, or so she thought, but now she's not sure. Was he involved somehow? Did he know something about the daycare, about who took their daughter? Sarah tries to call him, but the number she has is long disconnected, and a quick search online shows Jake's been off the grid for years, maybe even dead. The letter feels like a betrayal, a hint that the man she once loved might have played a role in her worst nightmare. You're probably reeling like Sarah is, wondering if Jake's the key to this whole thing, or if this is another dead end meant to throw her off. The timing of finding this letter, right after the break-in, feels too convenient, like someone wanted her to see it. But who? And why now? You're feeling that pull, that need to know more, because every clue Sarah uncovers seems to lead to a wall, and the walls are closing in. Let's add one more layer of tension, because this story thrives on the kind of suspense that makes your pulse race. Sarah decides to go to New York anyway, magazine or no magazine, because she's not letting a break-in or a cryptic letter stop her. But before she leaves, she gets a phone call from a blocked number. The voice on the other end is low, distorted, almost mechanical. "Stop looking for her, Sarah. You're only going to make things worse." The line goes dead before she can respond, and Sarah's left staring at her phone, her hands cold, her heart hammering. You're probably thinking what she's thinking. Who knows she's going to New York? Who's desperate enough to threaten her? She tells Rachel about the call, but Rachel brushes it off, saying it's probably a prank tied to the letters. Mark, when Sarah mentions it in passing, looks genuinely worried, but his offer to go with her to New York feels too eager, too convenient. Even Tom, when Sarah reports the call, seems more annoyed than alarmed, muttering about kids with voice changers. Nobody's taking this seriously, and Sarah's starting to feel like she's alone in this fight. You're right there with her, aren't you? Feeling that isolation, that paranoia, that need to keep pushing even when the world's telling her to stop. She boards the bus to New York, her mind a tangle of fear and determination, but as the miles roll by, she can't shake the feeling that she's being watched, that someone's one step ahead of her, pulling strings she can't see. Here's where I want to pull you back in, because you and we're in this together, chasing this mystery like it's our own. You're probably trying to piece it together. wondering if Jake's letter is the key, if Rachel's hiding something, if Mark's charm is a mask, or if Tom's loyalty is crumbling. You're thinking about that voice on the phone, that missing magazine, that bunny on the couch, and you're desperate to know how it all connects. I love that you're this invested, because it means you're feeling Sarah's struggle, her courage, her refusal to give up. She's heading to New York to find Isabel, to look into those eyes and know if it's Lily, but the closer she gets, the more the world seems to push back. You want to know what happens next, don't you? You want to know if Sarah's going to find her daughter, or if she's walking into a trap. I'm not going to spoil it, but I will tell you this. When Sarah steps off that bus in New York, she's going to come face to face with someone she never expected, someone who claims to have seen Lily just days after she was taken, and who says they know why she disappeared. But what they tell her isn't a relief. It's a bombshell that turns everything Sarah thought she knew upside down, and it's going to leave you questioning everything. Who is this person and what do they know? Keep watching, because the truth is closer than ever, but it's wrapped in a twist you won't see coming. You're still here, aren't you? I can feel your pulse racing, your curiosity burning, because we're at the point in this story where every step Sarah takes feels like it's pulling her deeper into a maze with no exit. She's just stepped off that bus in New York City, her heart pounding, her eyes scanning the crowded streets for a glimpse of Isabel, the model who might be her daughter, Lily, stolen from a daycare 18 years ago. That chilling phone call, the missing magazine, the eerie stuffed bunny left on her couch, and the cryptic letter from her ex, Jake, they're all swirling in her mind, making her question everyone and everything. You're right there with her, wondering who's behind the threats, who broke into her house, and whether she's walking into a trap. But just when you think this mystery can't get any more tangled, a new thread unravels, one that drags someone else into the heart of the storm and makes you question every motive, every clue, every truth you thought you had pinned down. I'm with you, piecing this together, feeling that same thrill of not knowing what's around the next corner, and I promise, what's coming next is going to twist the knife even deeper. Sarah's not the only one chasing ghosts now, and the stakes just got so much higher. Let's dive back in, because this secondary storyline is about to shake up everything, and it's going to leave you desperate to know who's pulling the strings. As Sarah navigates the bustling chaos of New York, her phone buzzes with a text from Rachel, her best friend back in Ohio. Rachel's been acting strange lately, distant, quick to dismiss Sarah's plans to find Isabel, but this message stops Sarah cold. It's a photo of a handwritten note, slipped under Rachel's apartment door that morning, and the words are hauntingly familiar. You're getting too close. Stop, or you'll regret it. Sarah's stomach drops, because it's not just the message that's chilling, it's the handwriting. It's the same messy scrawl as the letter from Jake she found in Lily's old box, the one that hinted he might have known something about the kidnapping. You're probably feeling that same jolt Sarah does, that sinking realization that this isn't just about her anymore. Rachel's been pulled into the mystery, and the fact that the note echoes Jake's makes everything murkier. Sarah calls Rachel immediately, her voice trembling as she demands details. Rachel's shaken, her usual confidence replaced by a nervous edge, and she admits she's been getting weird vibes too. A strange car following her home from the hospital, a hang-up call from a block number late at night. But here's the kicker. Rachel confesses she's been holding something back. Years ago, right after Lily disappeared, Rachel saw Jake in town, lurking near the daycare, even though he was supposed to have left Ohio months before. She never told Sarah, thinking it wasn't important, but now, with this note, she's not so sure. You're probably reeling like Sarah is, wondering why Rachel kept the secret, whether Jake's really the key to Lily's disappearance, and how Rachel's being targeted fits into the puzzle. Is someone trying to silence them both, or is Rachel's involvement a coincidence? The uncertainty is suffocating, and it's making you question her motives just as much as Sarah is starting to. Let's pull back and add another layer, because this new storyline isn't just about Rachel, it's about a piece of evidence that flips everything Sarah thought she knew. While she's in New York, Sarah visits the modeling agency, a sleek office in Manhattan where Isabel works. The receptionist, a young woman named Mia, is hesitant but agrees to pass along a message to Isabel's manager, Victor, the shadowy figure Claire from the magazine mentioned. While waiting, Sarah notices a framed photo on the wall, a group shot from a charity event the agency hosted in 2010. In the background, barely noticeable, is a little girl with dark hair and big brown eyes, clutching a stuffed bunny that looks exactly like Lily's. Sarah's breath catches, her mind racing. Could this be Lily, just 3 years after she was taken? The timeline fits, but the implications are staggering. If Lily was in New York back then, how did she end up with a modeling agency? And why was she at an event tied to the very people Sarah's now chasing? Mia, noticing Sarah's reaction, says the photos from a fundraiser for missing children, which only deepens the irony. Sarah snaps a picture of the photo, but when she returns the next day to ask more questions, the frame is gone, replaced by a generic landscape print. You're feeling that chill, aren't you? That sense that someone's covering their tracks, that the evidence Sarah needs keeps slipping away. She confronts Mia, who swears she doesn't know why the photo was removed, but her nervous glance toward Victor's office says otherwise. Victor himself is elusive, always in a meeting, and Sarah's starting to wonder if he's the one orchestrating the threats, the break-in, the missing magazine.
But why?
What does he know about Isabel or Lily that he's so desperate to hide? Let's weave in another thread, because this mystery thrives on the kind of doubt that makes you second-guess everyone. Back in Ohio, Rachel's not just dealing with that threatening note. She's digging into her own past, trying to figure out why she's been targeted. She remembers something else from 2007, something she buried deep because it hurt too much to face. Rachel was at the daycare the morning Lily was taken, dropping off supplies for a craft project. She saw a woman she didn't recognize, someone in a dark coat, lingering near the playground, watching the kids. Rachel didn't think much of it at the time, but now, with the note and the memories of Jake's strange appearance, she's wondering if that woman was involved. She tells Sarah about it over a shaky video call, her voice low, like she's afraid someone's listening. Sarah's mind spins, because this contradicts what she's always believed, that Lily's kidnapping was a random act, a stranger snatching her in a moment of chaos. A woman watching the daycare suggests planning, intent, maybe even someone who knew Lily knew Sarah. You're probably trying to piece it together like they are, wondering if this woman ties to Jake, to Victor, to the agency, or even to Rachel herself. Rachel's insistence on digging into this memory feels genuine, but there's a flicker of something, guilt, maybe, in her voice that makes you wonder if she's telling the whole truth. Is she an ally, or is she hiding a betrayal that could unravel Sarah's search? The stakes are skyrocketing, and every new clue seems to point in a different direction, leaving you as lost as Sarah feels. Here's where I want to pull you back in, because you and I were neck-deep in this mystery, and it's getting wilder by the second. You're probably buzzing with questions, trying to connect Rachel's note to Sarah's threats, that old photo to Isabel's identity, Jake's letter to the woman at the daycare. You're wondering who's behind this, why they're targeting Sarah and Rachel, and whether Isabel is really Lily or a cruel mirage. I love that you're this hooked, because it means you're living this story with me, feeling every twist, every betrayal, every moment of doubt. Sarah's in New York, chasing a ghost, while Rachel's back home, stirring up memories that might get her in deeper trouble. The threats are escalating, the evidence is vanishing, and everyone, Rachel, Mark, Tom, Victor, feels like they could be friend or foe. You want to know what happens next, don't you? You want to know if Sarah's going to find Isabel, if Rachel's memory holds the key, or if they're both being played by someone who's been watching from the start. I'm not going to give it away, but I will tell you this. Just as Sarah gets a lead on Isabel's whereabouts, a coffee shop where she's rumored to hang out, she gets an email from an anonymous sender with a single attachment, a grainy video clip from 2007 showing a little girl who looks like Lily being led away from the daycare by a figure in a dark coat. The video cuts off before the face is clear, but the final frame shows something that makes Sarah's blood run cold, a bracelet on the figure's wrist, one that looks exactly like the one Rachel used to wear. Is Rachel the key to this whole thing, or is someone trying to tear them apart? Keep watching, because this twist is just the beginning, and the truth is more dangerous than you can imagine. You're still right here with me, aren't you? I can feel your heart racing, your eyes locked on this story, because we've reached a point where the shadows are closing in, and every move Sarah makes feels like it's pulling her deeper into a nightmare she can't wake up from. She's in New York City, chasing the ghost of her daughter, Lily, who vanished from a daycare 18 years ago, convinced that Isabel, the model in that stolen magazine, is her. That grainy video clip she just received, the one showing a little girl who looks like Lily being led away from the daycare by someone wearing a bracelet that eerily resembles Rachel's, has turned her world upside down. Rachel's cryptic confession about seeing Jake and a mysterious woman near the daycare, the threatening note slipped under Rachel's door, the missing photo at the modeling agency, and the anonymous warnings are all piling up, making Sarah question everyone she's ever trusted. You're probably as rattled as she is, wondering if Rachel's been lying all these years, if Jake's the mastermind behind Lily's disappearance, or if Victor, the elusive modeling agent, is pulling strings from the shadows. But just when you think Sarah's at her breaking point, this story takes a darker turn, one that makes her realize she's not just chasing a mystery, she's in real, heart-stopping danger. I'm right here with you, feeling that same dread, that same need to know who's behind this, and why they're so desperate to stop her. Let's dive back in, because what happens next is going to make your skin crawl, and it's going to leave you with more questions than ever. Sarah's standing in a crowded New York coffee shop, the one where Isabel supposedly hangs out, her hands trembling as she clutches her phone, the video clip still burning in her mind. The bracelet, the dark coat, the little girl's tiny hand, it's all too much, and her thoughts are a storm of fear and betrayal. Has Rachel been hiding something this whole time, or is someone planting clues to drive a wedge between them? She's so lost in her head that she almost misses the barista calling her name for her order, but as she steps forward, she feels it, a prickling on the back of her neck, like someone's watching her. She glances around, scanning the faces in the shop, but no one stands out. Just hipsters with laptops, tourists with maps, a mom with a stroller. She tells herself it's paranoia, that the break-in at her house, the threatening call, and the missing magazine have her on edge. But as she leaves the coffee shop, her coffee untouched, she notices a man in a gray hoodie across the street, his face half hidden by a baseball cap. He's not moving, just standing there, his eyes locked on her. Sarah's heart lurches, and she quickens her pace, weaving through the crowded sidewalk, her breath coming in shallow bursts. She glances back, and he's still there, matching her speed, his hands shoved deep in his pockets. You're probably feeling that same panic she is, that instinct to run, to hide, because this isn't just a feeling anymore, it's real. She ducks into a bookstore, pretending to browse, but her eyes are on the window, watching as the man lingers outside, checking his phone like he's waiting for instructions.
Who is he?
Is he connected to Victor, to the agency, to whoever sent that video? Sarah's mind races, her paranoia swelling, because for the first time, she's not just scared for Lily. She's scared for herself. The danger doesn't stop there, because this story loves to twist the knife. Back at her hotel, Sarah tries to call Rachel, needing to confront her about the bracelet, about that woman at the daycare, about why she's been so cagey. But Rachel's phone goes straight to voicemail, over and over, which isn't like her. Rachel's the type who always picks up, even at 2 a.m., especially for Sarah. By the third try, Sarah's stomach is in knots, her mind flashing to that threatening note Rachel got, the one that mirrored Jake's handwriting. She texts instead, her fingers shaking. Call me.
Now.
We need to talk about 2007. No response. Hours pass, and Sarah's pacing her tiny hotel room, the city's neon lights flickering through the window, her thoughts spiraling. What if Rachel's not avoiding her? What if something's happened to her? She calls Sheriff Tom back in Ohio, her voice cracking as she asks him to check on Rachel. Tom's calm, too calm, promising to swing by her apartment, but when he calls back, his tone is grim. Rachel's gone. Her apartment's empty, her car's still in the lot, and there's no sign of a struggle, just that handwritten note, now pinned to her fridge with a magnet, as if someone wanted it to be found. You're probably as shaken as Sarah, your mind racing with possibilities. Has Rachel been taken, like Lily was? Did she run, hiding something she couldn't face? Or is this another move by whoever's been stalking Sarah? A warning that no one's safe? Sarah's fear is turning into full-blown paranoia because the people she loves are slipping away and she's starting to feel like a pawn in a game she doesn't understand. Let's dig into Sarah's head because this is where the emotional weight hits hardest. She's sitting on the edge of her hotel bed, the video clip playing on her phone, her eyes locked on that bracelet, her heart tearing itself apart. Rachel's been her anchor for 18 years, the one who sat through every tear, every false hope, every anniversary of Lily's disappearance. The idea that Rachel might have known something, might have seen that woman, might have recognized that bracelet and said nothing, feels like a knife in Sarah's chest. But worse is the fear that Rachel's in danger because of her, because Sarah wouldn't stop digging. She thinks about Lily, about the little girl she lost, and now about Rachel, the friend who's become family. The guilt is crushing, mingling with a growing dread that she's being hunted, that every step she takes toward Isabel is drawing a tighter noose around her neck. She's terrified to keep going, but even more terrified to stop, because if Isabel is Lily, if there's even a chance, she can't turn back. You're feeling that weight, aren't you? That suffocating mix of love and fear, the kind that makes you want to scream at Sarah to run but also to fight, to find her daughter no matter the cost. Her paranoia is seeping into you, making you question every face in this story. Rachel, Tom, Mark, Victor, even Jake, whose ghost seems to haunt every clue. And that man in the hoodie? He's not just a stranger anymore. When Sarah checks her email, there's a new message from that anonymous sender, no subject, just a single line. You were warned. Next time, it's not just a magazine. Attached is a photo of Sarah, taken outside the coffee shop, her face pale, her eyes wide with fear. Someone's not just watching, they're closing in. Let's add one more layer, because this mystery thrives on the kind of dread that makes your heart skip. Sarah decides to keep pushing, despite the threat, despite Rachel's disappearance, because she's got nothing left to lose. She tracks down the coffee shop's manager, who confirms Isabel was there yesterday, but left in a hurry after a heated phone call. The manager overheard a name, Victor, and saw Isabel get into a black SUV with tinted windows. Sarah's gut twists, because Victor's name keeps surfacing, like a shark circling beneath the waves. She tries to contact the modeling agency again, but the number's disconnected, and when she shows up at their office, the door's locked, the windows dark, like the place was abandoned overnight. You're probably thinking what Sarah's thinking. Is Victor running from her or setting a trap? Her only lead now is a rumor from Mia, the receptionist, who whispered before Sarah left that Isabel sometimes visits a rooftop bar in Brooklyn. It's a thin thread, but Sarah clings to it, her fear battling her hope. As she heads to the bar, her phone buzzes with a voicemail from Tom, his voice strained. He's found something in Rachel's apartment, something he didn't mention before, a hidden journal tucked under a floorboard, with entries about Lily, about the daycare, about a deal Rachel made years ago to keep quiet. Tom cuts off, saying he's coming to New York to show her, but the call ends with a muffled sound, like a struggle. You're hooked now, aren't you? Your mind's racing, trying to piece together Rachel's journal, Tom's sudden urgency, the man in the hoodie, and that photo of Sarah. Sarah's in deeper than ever, and the danger's no longer a shadow, it's a blade at her throat. Here's where I pull you back in, because you and I, we're living this nightmare together, feeling Sarah's terror, her desperation, her refusal to give up. You're probably scrambling to make sense of it all, wondering if Rachel betrayed Sarah, if Tom's call means he's in danger too, or if Victor's the puppet master behind every threat. You're thinking about that journal, what Rachel might have hidden, and whether Isabel's really Lily or a pawn in someone's game. I love that you're this invested, because it means you're right there with Sarah, your heart pounding as she steps into that rooftop bar, her eyes searching for Isabel, her mind screaming that she's being watched. You want to know what happens next, don't you? You want to know if Sarah's going to find her daughter, if Rachel's alive, or if Tom's discovery will blow this mystery wide open. I'm not going to spoil it, but I will tell you this. As Sarah scans the bar, her eyes lock on a woman in the corner, her face half hidden by shadows, her wrist glinting with a bracelet that matches the one in the video. But before Sarah can move, her phone lights up with a new email, and the subject line stops her cold. Lily's not who you think she is. The message is a single image, a recent photo of Isabel, smiling, standing next to a man whose face is blurred, but whose hand rests on her shoulder, wearing a ring that Sarah recognizes from a memory she buried long ago. Who is he, and what does he know about Lily? Keep watching, because this darkness is just the beginning, and the truth is more twisted than you can imagine. You're still glued to this story, aren't you? I can feel your anticipation, your mind churning through every clue, every threat, every shadow that's been haunting Sarah as she chases the truth about her daughter, Lily, who vanished from a daycare 18 years ago. She's in a dimly lit rooftop bar in Brooklyn now, her heart hammering, her eyes locked on a woman whose bracelet matches the one from that chilling video of a little girl being led away in 2007, a video that's got Sarah questioning her best friend, Rachel, who's mysteriously disappeared after receiving a threatening note. The anonymous email with that photo of Isabel, the model Sarah believes is Lily, standing next to a man with a familiar ring, is burning a hole in her pocket, and Sheriff Tom's cryptic voicemail about Rachel's hidden journal has her paranoia at a fever pitch. You're probably as on edge as Sarah, wondering if the woman in the corner is Isabel, if Rachel's betrayal runs deeper than she feared, or if the man in the hoodie who's been tailing her is about to strike. But just when you think you've got a handle on this mystery, I'm about to pull the rug out from under you. This story's been a maze of secrets, but what's coming next is a plot twist so jarring, so unexpected, it'll make you question everything you thought you knew about Lily's disappearance, Sarah's search, and the people she's trusted all along. I'm right here with you, reeling from this revelation, and I promise this is going to change the game. Let's dive back in, because the truth is about to take a dark, dizzying turn. Sarah's frozen in the bar, the noise of clinking glasses and laughter fading as her eyes stay fixed on the woman in the corner. The bracelet glints under the low lights, a silver chain with a tiny heart charm, just like the one in the video, just like the one Rachel used to wear. Her heart screams to approach, to demand answers, but before she can move, her phone vibrates with a new call, not from Rachel, not from Tom, but from Mark, the charming photographer who's been circling her life back in Ohio. She hesitates, her instincts screaming that Mark's sudden presence in her life, his too-perfect timing, is no coincidence. But she answers, her voice low, and what he says stops her cold. Sarah, don't go near that woman. You're not safe. I know who took Lily, and it's not what you think. His voice is urgent, almost panicked, nothing like the smooth charm she's used to. She presses him, her words sharp, demanding to know what he means, but Mark's cryptic, saying he's in New York too, that he followed her to protect her, and that he's been hiding something since they met. He claims he was a private investigator in 2007, hired by someone close to Sarah to look into Lily's disappearance, but what he found was so explosive, he was paid to bury it. You're probably as stunned as Sarah, your mind racing to make sense of this. Mark, the guy who seemed like a harmless flirt, a small-town newcomer, was involved in Lily's case all along? Who hired him? And what did he find that was worth covering up? Sarah's head spins, because this isn't just a twist. It's a wrecking ball, smashing everything she thought she knew about her daughter's kidnapping. Let's unpack this bombshell, because Mark's revelation isn't just a curveball, it's a complete rewrite of the story. He tells Sarah, his voice dropping to a whisper, that Lily's disappearance wasn't a random kidnapping, but part of something bigger, something orchestrated by someone Sarah trusted implicitly. He won't say who over the phone, insisting they meet in person, but he drops a clue that makes Sarah's blood run cold. The stuffed bunny, the one she found on the daycare steps, the one left on her couch after the break-in, wasn't just a taunt. It was a message from someone who knew Lily's habits, someone who'd been inside Sarah's home before the kidnapping, someone who had access to her life. Sarah's mind flashes to Rachel, to Tom, even to Jake, but Mark's words suggest it's none of them. It's someone she never suspected, someone who's been hiding in plain sight. You're probably reeling like Sarah is, trying to piece together who this could be because every person in her life feels tainted now. Was it the daycare director, who seemed so broken after Lily vanished? A neighbor who was too eager to help with the search? Or someone even closer, someone Sarah's overlooked all these years? Her paranoia is a living thing, clawing at her, because Mark's confession means the mystery she's been chasing, the idea of a stranger snatching Lily, might be a lie. The video, the bracelet, the threats, the photo of Isabel with that man, they're all pieces of a puzzle she's been reading wrong, and the real picture is far uglier than she imagined. Here's where things get even murkier, because Mark's not the only one dropping bombs. As Sarah hangs up, promising to meet him at a diner across town, she glances back at the woman in the corner, only to find her gone, the table empty except for a napkin with a scrawled note. "You're looking in the wrong place." Sarah's heart lurches, because the handwriting matches the anonymous letters she's been getting, the ones that told her Lily was closer than you think. She stuffs the napkin in her pocket, her hands shaking, and bolts from the bar, her eyes scanning the street for the man in the hoodie, for the woman, for anyone who might be watching. You're probably as frantic as she is, wondering if the woman was Isabel, if she knows Sarah's after her, or if she's another pawn in this twisted game. Back at her hotel, Sarah checks her email, hoping for a reply from Tom about Rachel's journal, but instead, there's a new message from the anonymous sender, with a subject line that makes her stomach drop. The truth about 2007. The email contains a scanned document, a police report from the day Lily was taken, one Sarah's never seen, buried in the archives and marked confidential. It details a witness statement from a daycare worker who claimed they saw Sarah's car in the parking lot hours after she said she left, a detail that contradicts her alibi. Sarah's breath catches, because she knows she wasn't there, but the report suggests someone wanted the police to think she was involved in Lily's disappearance. You're feeling that shock, aren't you? The idea that Sarah, the grieving mother, might have been framed, that someone close to her planted evidence to shift suspicion.
Who would do that and why?
Let's lean into Sarah's emotional spiral, because this twist isn't just about facts, it's about the toll it's taking on her soul. She's sitting in her hotel room, the police report open on her laptop, her hands trembling as she reads it again, her mind screaming that it's a lie, that she'd never hurt Lily. But doubt creeps in, not about herself, but about the people who were supposed to help her. Rachel, who had seen Jake and that woman at the daycare. Tom, who never mentioned this report, even when he was her rock. Mark, who's now claiming he's been lying to her from the start. Even Jake, whose letter hinted at guilt she never understood. She thinks about the man in the photo with Isabel, the ring she recognized but can't place, and her heart aches with a memory she's buried, a ring her mother wore, one she gave to someone close before she died. Could her own family be tied to this? The paranoia is suffocating, making her question her memories, her instincts, her entire life. She's terrified that Lily's alive but doesn't want to be found, that Isabel's life is a carefully crafted lie, that the person who took her daughter is still manipulating everything. You're right there with her, aren't you? Feeling that crushing weight, that desperate need to know who's behind this, because every revelation makes the truth feel further away. Here's where I pull you back in, because you and I were tangled in this web together, and this twist has changed everything. You're probably scrambling to rethink the story, wondering if Lily's kidnapping was a cover for something bigger, if Sarah's been a target all along, or if Mark's story is even true. You're thinking about that police report, the napkin, the woman with the bracelet, and you're desperate to know how they connect. I love that you're this hooked, because it means you're living Sarah's fear, her betrayal, her refusal to give up. She's heading to meet Mark, hoping he'll tell her who hired him, what he buried, but she's walking into this blind, her trust shattered, her life on the line. You want to know what happens next, don't you? You want to know if Mark's telling the truth, if the woman in the bar is Isabel, or if that police report means Sarah's been chasing the wrong enemy. I'm not going to spoil it, but I will tell you this. When Sarah gets to the diner, Mark's not alone. Sitting across from him is someone Sarah hasn't seen in years, someone who shouldn't be here, someone who holds up a photo of Lily, not as a toddler but as a teenager, taken just months ago, with a message written on the back. She's not yours anymore. Who is this person and what do they mean? Keep watching, because this twist is just the start, and the truth is more shattering than you can imagine. You're still right here with me, aren't you? I can feel your pulse racing, your mind spinning from that last bombshell, because Sarah's world just shattered in ways neither of us saw coming. She's in a New York diner, about to confront Mark, the photographer who dropped the bombshell that he was a private investigator hired to bury explosive secrets about Lily's disappearance 18 years ago, only to find him sitting with someone from her past, someone holding a recent photo of a teenage Lily with a chilling message, "She's not yours anymore." The police report suggesting Sarah was at the daycare after she claimed to have left, the napkin with handwriting matching her anonymous letters, Rachel's disappearance after a threatening note, and the mysterious woman with the bracelet have all twisted this mystery into something far darker than a simple kidnapping. You're probably as shaken as Sarah, wondering who this person with Mark is, what they know about Lily, and whether Sarah's been chasing a lie all these years. But just when you think the stakes can't get any higher, Sarah's about to face choices that tear at her soul, forcing her to weigh her love for her daughter against her own survival. I'm right here with you, feeling the weight of every decision, every betrayal, and I promise, this chapter is going to hit you hard. Let's dive back in, because the conflict is about to explode, and Sarah's heart is on the line in ways that'll leave you breathless. Sarah steps into the diner, the fluorescent lights buzzing overhead, the smell of burnt coffee thick in the air, her eyes locked on Mark's table in the corner. Her stomach churns as she recognizes the woman sitting across from him, Ellen, her mother's old friend, a woman who was like an aunt to Sarah growing up, who held her hand at her mother's funeral, who vanished from her life shortly after Lily was taken. Ellen's face is older now, lined with years, but her eyes are sharp, unyielding, and she's clutching that photo of a teenage girl who looks so much like Lily it steals Sarah's breath. Mark's expression is grim, his hands fidgeting, and before Sarah can speak, Ellen slides the photo across the table, her voice low and steady. "Sit down, Sarah. We need to talk, but you're not going to like what I have to say." Sarah's legs feel like they might give out, but she sits, her mind a storm of confusion and dread. Ellen doesn't waste time. She says she's been watching Sarah for years, keeping tabs on her search for Lily, and that the truth about what happened in 2007 is uglier than Sarah can imagine. She claims Lily wasn't kidnapped by a stranger, but taken by someone Sarah loved, someone who believed they were protecting her. You're probably as stunned as Sarah, your heart pounding as you try to process this. Protecting Lily? From what? Ellen's words are a blade, cutting through 18 years of grief, and she lays out an impossible choice. Stop searching for Lily now. Let her live the life she has, or keep digging and risk destroying not just Sarah's life, but Lily's too. Ellen warns that the people behind this, people with power, people who've been watching Sarah's every move, will do anything to keep their secrets buried, and they've already proven they're not afraid to hurt those Sarah loves. You're feeling that gut punch, aren't you? The idea that Sarah's search might be endangering the daughter she's fought so hard to find. The emotional weight of this moment is crushing, because Sarah's not just facing a threat, she's staring down a moral abyss. She leans forward, her voice trembling, demanding to know who took Lily, why Ellen's involved, and what Mark's role is in this twisted game. Ellen's cryptic, saying only that Lily's new life is better than the one she left, that she's safe, happy, and unaware of her past. But her eyes flicker with something, guilt, maybe fear, when she mentions Rachel, hinting that Rachel's disappearance isn't what it seems, that she might have known more about Lily's fate than she let on. Sarah's heart twists, because Rachel's been her lifeline, her sister in all but blood, and the idea that she could be part of this betrayal is almost too much to bear. She thinks about the bracelet in the video, the note under Rachel's door, the journal Tom found, and her mind screams that she's been blind, that the people she trusted most might have built a wall of lies around her. Ellen slides an envelope across the table, her voice cold. "This is your way out, Sarah. Take it, go home, and let Lily go. Or keep going, and you'll lose everything." Inside the envelope is a plane ticket back to Ohio and a burner phone with a single contact labeled V. Sarah's breath catches because V can only mean Victor, the shadowy modeling agent tied to Isabel, the man who's been dodging her every move. Ellen says if Sarah calls that number, she'll get answers, but it comes with a price. She'll have to agree to never contact Isabel, to walk away from her daughter forever. You're probably as torn as Sarah, your heart aching for her as she stares at that envelope, her love for Lily clashing with the terror of what might happen if she keeps pushing. Let's escalate this even further, because this story thrives on the kind of tension that makes your skin crawl. Sarah's hands shake as she grips the envelope, her mind flashing to the man in the hoodie who followed her, the photo of her taken outside the coffee shop, the anonymous email warning that next time, it's not just a magazine. She's starting to see the pattern. Every step she takes toward Isabel, someone she loves gets hurt. Rachel's gone, Tom's voicemail cut off mid-struggle, and now Ellen's sitting here, claiming to be her ally but acting like a gatekeeper. Sarah's paranoia is a living thing, whispering that Ellen's not telling the whole truth, that Mark's sudden confession about being a PI feels too convenient, that the photo of Lily as a teenager might be a manipulation to break her. She demands to know why Ellen disappeared after Lily was taken, why she's resurfacing now, and Ellen's answer only deepens the mystery. She says she left town because she was threatened, that she knew too much about the deal that took Lily away, a deal tied to someone in Sarah's family, someone who believed Lily was in danger if she stayed with Sarah. You're probably reeling like Sarah is, wondering if this points to Jake, to her late mother, or to someone else entirely. The ring in the photo with Isabel, the one Sarah recognized from her mother's jewelry, looms larger now, a clue she can't shake. Was her own family involved in this? The thought is a knife in her gut, and the choice Ellen's forcing on her, to walk away or risk everything, feels like a trap, because either way, she's losing Lily all over again. Here's where the conflict explodes, because Sarah's not just fighting external threats, she's battling her own heart. She thinks about Lily's smile, her tiny hand clutching that stuffed bunny, the years she spent baking birthday cakes for a daughter who might never come home. She thinks about Rachel, wondering if she's hurt, or worse, because Sarah wouldn't stop digging. She thinks about Tom, whose last call sounded like he was in danger, and Mark, whose story doesn't add up, whose eyes keep darting to Ellen like he's waiting for her to call the shots. Sarah's terrified, not just of the people watching her, but of what she might find if she keeps going. What if Lily doesn't want to be found? What if Isabel's life is a lie, but a happy one? What if the truth destroys them both? You're feeling that weight, aren't you? That suffocating choice between love and safety, the kind that makes you want to scream at Sarah to fight but also to run. She's about to make a decision, but before she can, Mark leans forward, his voice barely audible. There's one more thing you need to know, Sarah. The person who hired me? They're still in your life, and they're closer than you think. Sarah's blood runs cold, because his words mean the mastermind behind Lily's disappearance isn't a ghost from the past. There's someone she sees every day, someone she trusts. You're hooked now, aren't you? Your mind's racing, trying to guess who it could be, what they wanted, and why they're still pulling strings. Here's where I pull you back in, because you and I, we're deep in this storm together, feeling Sarah's anguish, her fear, her impossible choices. You're probably scrambling to figure out who Mark's talking about, whether Ellen's ultimatum is a lifeline or a lie, and what Rachel's journal might reveal if Tom ever gets it to Sarah. You're thinking about that burner phone, the ring, the photo of Lily as a teenager, and you're desperate to know how it all fits. I love that you're this invested, because it means you're right there with Sarah, your heart breaking as she stares at that envelope, her soul torn between her daughter and her survival. You want to know what she's going to do, don't you? You want to know if she'll call Victor, confront Ellen, or track down Isabel despite the threats. I'm not going to spoil it, but I will tell you this. As Sarah reaches for the burner phone, her fingers trembling, the diner's door swings open, and a man steps inside, his face hidden by a hoodie, his hand slipping into his pocket like he's reaching for something dangerous. Sarah's eyes meet his, and in that split second, she recognizes him, not as a stranger, but as someone from her past, someone who was there the day Lily vanished. Who is he, and what does he want? Keep watching, because this choice is about to change everything, and the truth is more treacherous than you can imagine. You're still with me, aren't you? Your heart's pounding, your mind racing, because we're hurtling toward the climax of this twisted tale, and every second feels like it's tightening the noose around Sarah's neck. She's in a New York diner, staring down an impossible choice. Walk away from her search for Lily, her daughter stolen from a daycare 18 years ago, or keep digging and risk everything, including her own life. Ellen, her mother's old friend, just dropped a bombshell, claiming Lily was taken by someone Sarah loved to protect her, and Mark, the photographer-turned-private investigator, hinted that the mastermind is still in Sarah's life, closer than she ever imagined. The burner phone with Victor's number, the photo of a teenage Lily, Rachel's disappearance, Tom's cut-off voicemail about a hidden journal, and now a man in a hoodie, someone Sarah recognizes from the day Lily vanished, stepping into the diner with a hand in his pocket, all point to a conspiracy that's been unraveling her world piece by piece. You're probably as breathless as Sarah, wondering who this man is, what Ellen's hiding, and whether Sarah's about to lose everything. But hold on tight, because the true scale of this mystery is about to explode, revealing a web of betrayal and power that stretches far beyond Sarah's small Ohio town, and the person she trusted most is about to rip her heart apart. I'm right here with you, feeling the adrenaline, the dread, the desperate need to know how this ends. Let's dive in, because this is where the stakes hit their peak, and the truth is more dangerous than we ever imagined. Sarah's eyes lock on the man in the hoodie, her breath catching as recognition slams into her like a freight train. It's Paul, the maintenance worker from Sunshine Daycare, the one who was fixing a broken gate the morning Lily disappeared, who told police he saw nothing unusual, who faded into the background as the town mourned. His face is older now, hardened, but those pale blue eyes are unmistakable, and they're fixed on her with a cold intensity that makes her skin crawl. Before she can speak, Paul moves fast, sliding into the booth beside Ellen, his hand still in his pocket, and Sarah's heart lurches, realizing he's not just here by chance. He's part of this. Ellen doesn't flinch, her expression unreadable, but Mark's face pales, his hands gripping the table like he's bracing for impact. Paul leans forward, his voice a low growl, and what he says shatters everything Sarah thought she knew. You should have taken the deal, Sarah. You think this is just about you and Lily? You're a speck in a machine you can't stop. He reveals that Lily's disappearance wasn't a one-off crime but part of a network, a shadowy group that's been taking children, not for ransom or malice, but to place them in new lives, with new identities, for reasons Paul won't fully explain. You're probably as stunned as Sarah, your mind reeling at the idea that Lily's kidnapping was orchestrated by a conspiracy far bigger than a single person, that Isabel, the model Sarah's been chasing, might be one of dozens of children hidden in plain sight. Paul's words are a gut punch, hinting at powerful players, politicians, business tycoons, even law enforcement, who've profited from this scheme, and Sarah's search has gotten too close, threatening to unravel their empire. You're feeling that chill, aren't you? The realization that Sarah's not just fighting for her daughter, she's up against a monster with tentacles everywhere. The betrayal cuts even deeper, because Paul doesn't stop there. He turns to Ellen, his voice dripping with disdain, and says, "Tell her the rest, or I will." Ellen's composure cracks, her hands trembling as she looks at Sarah, and what she confesses is a knife to the heart. Ellen wasn't just a bystander. She was part of the network, recruited years ago by someone Sarah's mother trusted, someone who used their connection to Sarah's family to target Lily. Ellen claims she didn't know the full scope at first, that she thought she was helping children escape dangerous homes, but when she realized the truth, she was in too deep to get out. She says she tried to protect Sarah by disappearing after the kidnapping, but she's been working with the network ever since, keeping tabs on Sarah to make sure she didn't get too close. You're probably as shattered as Sarah, your trust in Ellen crumbling alongside hers, because this woman, who is like family, who held Sarah's hand through her darkest days, has been lying for 18 years, watching her grieve while guarding the secrets that tore her life apart. Sarah's voice breaks as she demands to know why Lily was taken, what danger she was supposedly in, but Ellen's vague, saying only that Sarah's family had enemies who wanted to hurt her through Lily. The ring in the photo with Isabel, The one Sarah recognized from her mother was a marker, Ellen admits, a symbol used by the network to identify their operatives. Sarah's head spins, because this means her mother, or someone close to her, might have been entangled in this long before Lily was born. You're caught in this whirlwind, aren't you? Wondering if Sarah's entire life has been a lie, if her mother's death was no accident, if Lily's new life is a gilded cage built on blood. The tension skyrockets as Paul lays out an ultimatum, his hand finally emerging from his pocket to reveal a small, sleek device, a tracker, he says, that's been monitoring Sarah's every move since she arrived in New York. He tells her the network knows she's been to the modeling agency, the coffee shop, the rooftop bar, and they've already dealt with Rachel and Tom to send a message. Sarah's heart stops, because Paul's words confirm her worst fears. Rachel's disappearance and Tom's interrupted call weren't accidents. Paul says Rachel's alive for now, but her safety and Sarah's depends on one thing. Sarah must publicly retract her search, go back to Ohio, and tell the world Lily's case is closed, that she's accepted her daughter's gone. If she refuses, Paul says, the network will make sure Sarah disappears too, and Lily, wherever she is, will pay the price. You're probably as panicked as Sarah, feeling the walls closing in, because this choice is impossible. Betray her daughter by giving up, or keep fighting and risk losing everyone she loves. Sarah's mind races, her thoughts a chaotic blur of fear, anger, and guilt. She thinks about Lily's laughter, her tiny hands, the years she spent searching, and now Rachel, her rock, caught in this web because of her. She thinks about Tom, whose loyalty she doubted, and wonders if he's hurt, or worse, because he tried to help. Her paranoia is a wildfire, burning through every trust she's ever had, because Ellen's betrayal means no one is safe, no one is who they seem. You're right there with her, aren't you? Feeling that suffocating pressure, that desperate need to fight back, but knowing every move could be her last. The conspiracy's scale keeps expanding, pulling Sarah and you deeper into its darkness. Mark, who's been silent, finally speaks, his voice shaking as he admits he's been working for the network too, not as an investigator, but as a fixer, sent to Ohio to keep Sarah distracted, to feed her false leads, to make sure she never got too close to the truth. His charm, his offers to help, his sudden interest in her life, it was all a lie, orchestrated to control her. Sarah's heart cracks, because Mark's betrayal stings in a way she didn't expect, a reminder that she's been alone in this fight from the start. But Mark's not done. He says he's tired of the lies, that he wants out, and that's why he called Sarah here, to give her a chance to escape before the network closes in. Paul laughs, a cold, hollow sound, and says Mark's too late, that the network's already moving, that Isabel's being relocated as they speak, her identity erased again to keep her out of Sarah's reach. You're probably as frantic as Sarah, your mind scrambling to process this double cross, to figure out if Mark's sudden rebellion is genuine or another layer of deception. Sarah's eyes dart to the diner's exit, her instincts screaming to run, but Paul's tracker, Ellen's cold stare, and the memory of that man in the hoodie keep her rooted. She's surrounded, outmaneuvered, and the clock's ticking. You're feeling that urgency, aren't you? That need to know if Sarah can outsmart this machine, if Lily's still within reach, or if the network's already won. Here's where I pull you back in, because you and we're in the eye of this storm, feeling Sarah's terror, her rage, her unbreakable love for her daughter. You're probably trying to unravel this conspiracy, wondering who's at the top, what they wanted with Lily, and whether Mark's turn against the network is real. You're thinking about Rachel, about Tom, about the ring, the tracker, the photo, and you're desperate to know how it all connects. I love that you're this hooked, because it means you're living Sarah's fight, her heart pounding as she faces a betrayal that cuts to her core. You want to know what she's going to do, don't you? You want to know if she'll take Paul's deal, trust Mark's rebellion, or find a way to fight back. I'm not going to spoil it, but I will tell you this. As Sarah reaches for the burner phone, ready to call Victor and demand answers, the diner's lights flicker and a woman steps out of the shadows. Isabel herself, her face pale, her eyes wide with fear. She looks at Sarah and before anyone can react, she whispers, "You don't know what you've started." Then the door bursts open, and everything goes to hell. What has Sarah unleashed, and who's coming for her now? Keep watching, because this climax is just the beginning, and the truth is a fire that's about to consume them all. You're right here with me, aren't you? Your heart's hammering, your breath catching, because we've reached the climax of this heart-wrenching saga, and the air is thick with the weight of 18 years of secrets, betrayals, and a mother's unyielding love. Sarah's in a New York diner, surrounded by enemies. Paul, the daycare worker turned enforcer for a shadowy network that stole her daughter, Lily, in 2007. Ellen, her mother's friend who confessed to being part of the conspiracy, and Mark, the photographer who played her with lies, only to claim he wants out. The burner phone with Victor's number is in her hand, Rachel and Tom are missing, and the revelation that Lily's kidnapping was part of a vast operation to relocate children for powerful players has shattered everything Sarah thought she knew. Then, in a heartbeat, Isabel, the model Sarah believes is Lily, appears in the diner, her whispered words, "You don't know what you've started," hanging in the air as the door bursts open, chaos erupting. You're probably as gripped as I am, wondering if Sarah's finally face-to-face with her daughter, if she'll uncover the truth, or if this network will crush her before she can fight back. This is it, the moment where every mystery collides, where Sarah's battle for Lily becomes a war for survival, and where one final twist will leave you stunned. I'm with you, feeling every ounce of tension, every pulse of fear, and I promise, this climax is going to be unforgettable. Let's dive in, because the truth is about to ignite, and nothing will ever be the same. The diner erupts into pandemonium as two men in dark jackets storm through the door, their faces obscured by ski masks, their hands gripping sleek handguns that glint under the flickering lights. Sarah's instincts kick in, and she dives behind the counter, her heart pounding as she clutches the burner phone, Isabel's words echoing in her mind. Paul's shouting orders, his voice sharp with panic, while Ellen scrambles to her feet, her cool facade crumbling. Mark lunges toward Isabel, pulling her down beside Sarah, his eyes wild as he whispers, "They're here to clean up. We're all loose ends now." You're probably as terrified as Sarah, your mind racing to keep up with this sudden violence, because this isn't just about stopping her anymore. It's about erasing everyone who knows the network's secrets. Isabel's trembling beside her, her brown eyes, so like Lily's, wide with fear, and Sarah's heart aches with a desperate need to protect her, to know if this is her daughter. The masked men move with chilling precision, one grabbing Paul and slamming him against the wall, demanding to know where the files are, while the other scans the room, his gun sweeping toward the counter. Sarah's breath hitches, her thoughts a chaotic swirl of guilt, rage, and love. She thinks about Rachel, vanished after a threatening note, about Tom, whose last call ended in a struggle, about the network's tracker that's been following her every move. She's been a pawn in their game, but now, crouched behind this counter with bullets ready to fly, she realizes this is her last chance to fight back, to uncover the truth about Lily, even if it costs her everything. You're feeling that urgency, aren't you? That raw, primal need to see Sarah win, to know if Isabel is Lily, to expose the monsters who tore her life apart. The confrontation escalates as Sarah makes a split-second decision, her fingers tightening around the burner phone. She dials the number labeled V, her hand shaking because if Victor's the puppet master, she's going to force him to show his face. The line connects and a smooth, chilling voice answers. Victor, his tone calm despite the chaos. "Sarah, you're more persistent than I expected," he says, and what he reveals sends a shockwave through her. He confirms Isabel is Lily, taken not because of danger in Sarah's life, but because Sarah's mother, before her death, uncovered the network's operations and threatened to expose them. Lily was their leverage, a way to silence Sarah's family, placed in a new life with a fabricated identity to keep her out of reach. You're probably as staggered as Sarah. You're heartbreaking at the idea that her mother's fight against this conspiracy cost her Lily, that her daughter's been living a lie orchestrated by monsters. Victor admits the network's unraveling now, thanks to Sarah's relentless search, but he offers a deal. Hand over the burner phone, which contains encrypted data about their operations, and he'll let Lily go free, no strings attached. Sarah's eyes dart to Isabel, who's clutching her arm, tears streaming down her face, and for the first time, she speaks directly to Sarah. "They told me my parents were dead," she whispers, her voice breaking. "I didn't know you were looking for me." The words are a dagger, confirming Isabel is Lily, and Sarah's soul cracks with a mix of joy and anguish, because her daughter's alive, but she's been molded by lies, and the network's still holding her leash. "You're right there with her, aren't you?" Feeling that overwhelming love, that burning need to save Lily, even as the gunfire and shouts remind you how close they are to losing everything. The psychological battle peaks as Sarah realizes the true scale of the conspiracy, and it's bigger than she ever imagined. Paul, struggling against the masked man, yells that the network isn't just a few operatives, it's a global machine, with tendrils in government, media, even police, and Sarah's small-town life was just collateral damage in their quest for control. Ellen, now cornered, confesses she wasn't just a bystander. She helped choose Lily, knowing Sarah's mother was a threat, and she's been feeding the network information ever since, including Rachel's location, which explains her disappearance. Sarah's heart shatters, because Ellen's betrayal runs deeper than she feared, and Rachel's fate is on her hands. Mark, still crouched beside her, admits he stole the magazine from Sarah's house, planted the bunny, even sent the anonymous emails, all to keep her off balance, but he swears he's done lying, that he wants to help her end this. You're probably as torn as Sarah, wondering if Mark's redemption is real or another trap, because every truth comes with a new lie, and the diner's a powder keg ready to explode. Sarah's mind races, weighing Victor's deal against the blood already spilled. Rachel, Tom, maybe others she doesn't even know. She looks at Lily, her daughter's face so close after all these years, and knows she can't trust Victor, can't let the network win. With a surge of defiance, she smashes the burner phone against the counter, destroying the data, her voice shaking as she screams into the chaos. "You don't get to control her anymore." The masked men freeze, Paul's eyes widen, and Lily gasps, because Sarah's just declared war on a machine that doesn't lose. You're feeling that rush, aren't you? That mix of fear and pride as Sarah fights for her daughter, knowing the cost might be everything. But here's the twist, the one you didn't see coming, and it's going to hit like a lightning bolt. As the masked men regroup, one of them rips off his ski mask, and Sarah's world stops. It's Tom, the sheriff, his face bruised but alive, his gun now trained on Paul. He's not a victim. He's been working undercover, infiltrating the network for years, trying to bring it down from the inside. The journal he found in Rachel's apartment wasn't about her betrayal. It was her own investigation, her attempt to help Sarah by digging into the network, which got her kidnapped to silence her. Tom's been playing both sides, feeding Sarah just enough to keep her safe while he gathered evidence, but his cover's blown now, and the network's closing in. He yells at Sarah to take Lily and run, that Rachel's being held in a warehouse nearby, but before she can move, Victor's voice crackles through a radio on Paul's belt, calm and venomous. "You think you've won, Sarah? Look at your daughter." Sarah turns to Lily, and her blood runs cold. Lily's holding a knife, her hands trembling, her eyes filled with a mix of fear and resolve. "They told me you abandoned me," she whispers, her voice breaking. "They said if I didn't stop you, they'd kill me." You're probably as shocked as Sarah, your heart in your throat, because Lily, the daughter she's fought for, has been brainwashed by the network, turned against her own mother in a final, devastating betrayal. The diner's a battlefield, Tom's gun wavering, Paul's grinning like he's won, and Sarah's staring into her daughter's eyes, knowing the next move could save Lily or lose her forever. What will she do, and who's going to survive this? Keep watching, because this climax is a firestorm, and one last secret is about to change everything. You've stuck with me through every heart-pounding twist, haven't you? Your emotions are raw, your mind still reeling from that explosive climax in the New York diner, where Sarah faced the unbearable truth that her daughter, Lily, now Isabel, was brainwashed by a shadowy network that stole her 18 years ago, holding a knife to her mother's heart under their cruel manipulation. Sheriff Tom's revelation as an undercover agent, Ellen's devastating betrayal, Mark's conflicted redemption, and Paul's role as the network's enforcer turned the mystery of Lily's kidnapping into a sprawling conspiracy that reached far beyond Sarah's small Ohio town. The diner was a war zone, with guns drawn, loyalty shattered, and Sarah's love for her daughter pitted against a machine that thrived on secrets and power. You're probably desperate to know how this ends, whether Sarah saves Lily, finds Rachel, or escapes the network's grasp, and what price she'll pay for the truth. I'm right here with you, feeling the weight of this resolution, the bittersweet ache of closure mixed with the shadows that linger. This final chapter is going to tie up the loose ends, answer the questions that have haunted us, and leave you with a feeling that'll stick long after the screen goes dark. Let's dive in, because Sarah's journey is about to find its end, but the echoes of her fight will resonate forever. The diner's chaos reaches a fever pitch as Sarah stares into Lily's eyes, the knife trembling in her daughter's hands, her face a battlefield of fear, confusion, and the lies the network fed her for 18 years. Sarah's heart is breaking, but her love is stronger than her fear, and she speaks softly, her voice steady despite the guns and shouts around them. She tells Lily about the stuffed bunny she clutched as a toddler, the birthday cakes Sarah baked every year, the room she kept untouched, whispering stories of a mother who never stopped searching. Something shifts in Lily's gaze, a flicker of recognition, a crack in the network's programming, and the knife clatters to the floor, her hands flying to her face as she sobs, "I didn't know." You're probably feeling that same rush of relief and pain, because this is the moment Sarah's been fighting for, the reunion she's dreamed of, but it's tainted by the trauma of what Lily's endured. Tom seizes the moment, tackling Paul to the ground, his undercover training kicking in as he disarms the masked men, who turn out to be network operatives sent to eliminate everyone who knows too much. Mark, proving his redemption, throws himself in front of Sarah and Lily, taking a bullet to the shoulder as he shields them, his face grim with determination to make up for his lies. The diner's a blur of motion, but Sarah's world narrows to her daughter, holding her tight, whispering promises to fix this, to bring her home, even as the network's shadow looms large. You're right there with her, aren't you? Feeling the fragile hope of this moment, the fear that it could all slip away because the network's reach is vast, and Sarah's not out of danger yet. The battle shifts as Tom radios for backup, his undercover contacts in the FBI swooping in to secure the diner, their presence a testament to the years he's spent infiltrating the network's ranks. Paul's cuffed, spitting curses, while Ellen, her face a mask of defeat, surrenders without a fight, her confessions spilling out in a torrent. She orchestrated Lily's placement with a wealthy family tied to the network, believing it was mercy, but her guilt has eaten her alive ever since. Sarah's heart twists, because Ellen's betrayal cuts deep, but her focus is on Lily, who's clinging to her, her memories fragmented but stirring, pieces of her toddler years surfacing like ghosts. Tom reveals the network's files, recovered from a hidden server, detail dozens of children like Lily, relocated to protect the interests of powerful figures, their identities erased to maintain a web of influence that spans continents. You're probably as staggered as Sarah, grappling with the scale of this evil, the lives it's stolen, the families it's broken. But there's hope amidst the horror. Tom's evidence includes Rachel's location, and Sarah's breath catches as he confirms she's alive, held in a warehouse just outside the city, her own investigation into the network having made her a target. Sarah insists on going to her, Lily by her side, and the FBI escorts them, their sirens cutting through the New York night as Sarah holds her daughter's hand, her heart swelling with the miracle of this reunion, but heavy with the scars they both carry. You're feeling that bittersweet ache, aren't you? The joy of Sarah's victory, tempered by the pain of what's been lost, the years they can't get back, the wounds that may never fully heal. At the warehouse, Sarah finds Rachel, battered but alive, her eyes filling with tears as she sees Lily, the girl she loved like her own, now a young woman standing beside her mother. Rachel's journal, recovered by the FBI, reveals she'd been piecing together the network's activities since 2007, her silence a desperate attempt to protect Sarah from the truth, her guilt over not speaking up sooner a burden she carried alone. Sarah embraces her, their bond unbroken despite the secrets, and the three of them, Sarah, Lily, Rachel, stand together, a family forged by love and loss, their tears mingling as they face the wreckage of the past. The FBI's raid on the network's operations begins to unravel its empire, with Victor's arrest making headlines, his polished facade crumbling as evidence links him to the highest echelons of power. Sarah learns the ring in the photo, the one she recognized from her mother, was a red herring, planted by the network to mislead her, a cruel manipulation that stings but can't overshadow the truth. She's got Lily back. You're probably as moved as I am, your heart full with the power of this reunion, the strength of Sarah's love, but there's a quiet sorrow too, because Lily's years as Isabel, her stolen childhood, will always cast a shadow. Sarah takes her daughter back to Ohio, to the house where Lily's room waits, and they begin the slow, painful work of rebuilding, therapy sessions and late-night talks helping Lily reclaim her past, her identity, her mother. Rachel moves in nearby, her own healing intertwined with theirs, and Tom, hailed as a hero, visits often, his own scars a reminder of the cost of truth. You're right there with them, aren't you? Feeling the warmth of this new beginning, but also the weight of what it took to get here, the lives touched by this conspiracy, the questions that linger about how deep it really went. But here's the final twist, the one that'll linger in your mind, leaving you with that haunting sense of mystery. Months later, as Sarah and Lily sit on the porch, watching the sunset, a letter arrives. No return address, no signature, just a single line in familiar handwriting. Not everyone was caught. Sarah's heart skips, her eyes scanning the quiet street, her mind flashing to the network's vast reach, the operatives who slipped through the cracks, the possibility that someone's still watching. She tucks the letter away, choosing not to tell Lily, not to shatter the fragile peace they've built, but the weight of it sits in her chest, a reminder that some shadows never fully fade. You're probably as unsettled as Sarah, wondering who sent that letter, whether the network's truly gone, or if this is a new chapter waiting to unfold. The story ends with Sarah pulling Lily close, her love a shield against the unknown, her resolve unbroken, but the air hums with that unanswered question, a whisper of something more. You're left reflecting, aren't you? Thinking about Sarah's journey, the power of a mother's love, the cost of truth, and the mysteries that linger just out of sight. This tale's over, but its impact, its questions, its emotions, its haunting what-ifs will stay with you, a story of loss, redemption, and the unbreakable bonds that define us, even in the darkest of times.